Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's good.
Who's that?
Is that generic?
This is one of these generic pieces of music. I believe it's...
Does that have a title?
Yeah, the title is On the Wave.
Okay.
And the artist is Leva.
I'm digging it.
It's a little bit too much information, but...
All of our guests today, including John Shannon, sponsored by Basant Motors. Due to popular demand, Basant is continuing its 31st anniversary celebrations. Check out BasantMotors.com to see all the great deals. As soon as I say I like the song,
he cuts
you
it
kill
off.
it.
Cuts it off.
We gotta move on. This isn't some, like,
You know,
one of those music stations there. Like, we gotta...
Yeah.
John's waiting.
And I'm not Dick Clark, the late, great Dick Clark.
Oh,
Learn
he was
more
so
at
good.
BASANTmotors.com. Just before we get to John from Ron Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox, why did Ryan turn that music off? No, seriously. Ron texting in, it's the weather. It gets colder at night, so that's why they play during the day.
Yeah.
Remember, World Series.
Common sense, Ryan.
Okay, hold on.
Common
World Series
sense.
is going to seep into November.
So the Astros, it's a dome stadium, so that doesn't matter.
Hold on. You said we got to get going.
No, but
Now you're going to chime in on this.
I want to defend myself. Dodgers, Padres? Yeah, it gets real chilly in California. Come on now.
San Diego, no, okay, I'm not sure. San Francisco, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Sorry.
San Francisco can get cold. San Diego, not that bad.
What about
says the well-traveled Ryan Henderson,
well,
who's only been
North
to
Grumman.
Edmonton, outside of Vancouver, and nowhere else.
It's true. In Canada.
Okay. NHL analyst, co-host of the Bob McCowan podcast, joins us now, as always, on a Thursday. It's John Shannon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, by the way. Just a minute, just so we're clear.
Yeah, we are live. Unlike Pat Morris, who was on with us earlier, we recorded that interview. Do you have any idea what Pat Morris's reputation is in terms of an agent, what he's like to deal with, to negotiate with, John?
Oh, no. I think Pat's at near the top of the list, if not at the top of the list. The Newport reputation is strong when it comes to teams. And what I would say is that over the history of the game that Jimmy Rutherford has been involved with, there are a few agents that are aligned with Jim in so many ways because of the amount of players that they have. And I put the Newport guys, Don Meehan and Patty, on that list, and I put Rick Curran on that list too. So. If you look at certain teams, certain agencies have more players on those teams than others, and that's not by coincidence.
Right. Is Bo Horvat a number one center, John? From what you know,
it's funny. I did listen to the interview, and I tweaked to the same answer that you did, Donnie. He's the best face-off guy in the game. But is he the best scorer in the game? Is he the best assist man in the game? Is he a leader? So 2 of the 4 I give an emphatic yes to. The other 2 need work. I would put him at a strong number 2. So I don't know if that's really the answer that Pat wants to hear or the team wants to hear. Hey, the bottom line is that. With all the money they're spending, and remember, this administration did not draft Horvat. They have no loyalty to Horvat. They want him to fit into the system. And right now, the only way they're going to fit him into the system somehow, some way, is by lengthening the term and dropping the AAV.
Bo Horvat's team loses last night at Edmonton 5-3, despite having a 3-0 lead at one point. Mm-hmm. So, John, Quinn Hughes gets bloodied. High stick from Evander Kane just before the Oilers' first goal. Should that play be reviewable?
No. I mean, we can't review everything, Donnie. Mm-hmm. It's like that darn CFL rule of now we're reviewing pass interference. It's a joke. Yeah. Listen. Was it missed? Absolutely, it was missed. It was terrible. But I don't think we can. I don't think we can move sports to the point of trying to avoid every human error. If we do that, I think we're losing a lot of what people feel. It was a bad mistake. It was badly missed. I don't know how it was missed. I would like to think Stephen Walkom and his officials today would be going through it. How did you miss that? They certainly will have received a piece of video saying, this is what happened. This is where Kane's stick ended up. But I don't think you can review everything in the game. It's just, first of all, we don't want 5-hour games. And secondly, I think that, hockey's a game of mistakes by the players. And once in a while, the referees make one.
John, I look at the reaction in Toronto. Leafs blow it last night late. Canucks, Oilers. I don't remember in the 80s this kind of reaction after game one. We'd read the newspaper.
There wasn't social media.
I know that social media plays a big part, John. I get it. But I don't remember.
I would have got a phone call from my brother bugging me. That's the word. That's what would have happened in 1983.
But I sometimes say to myself, and I know it's fueled by social media because everybody's got to say, everyone's going to count on Twitter, and I get it. But it is only game one, John.
Are you talking about the Maple Leafs in particular?
Both the Canucks and the Leafs. I mean, the sky's falling.
But listen. If I'm Bruce Boudreau and I'm his coaching staff, I'm saying, holy smokes, guys.
Yeah.
1 of 8 on the power play. We've got to be better. It wasn't as if the Canucks didn't have chances on special teams. They allowed a shorthanded goal, and Edmonton killed 7 of 8. You can't expect to win games if you only have 1 power play goal on 8 power plays. Yeah. That to me, and hockey, Rick, I don't have to tell you, hockey has become so much a game of special teams.
Oh, big time.
So much a game of special teams. So that perspective in Vancouver should be, hey, fix the power play, we're okay. And Bruce will fix the power play. I think that's going to happen. But in Toronto, can't blame Matt Murray, can't blame the forwards. But boy, oh boy, there has been a red flag all summer long about what this defense is supposed to be. Yep. And in their own zone, they were horrific to the youngest team in the National Hockey League. So there might be, I'll tell you what, tell me tomorrow there won't be panic if Washington comes into Toronto and wins.
Oh, yeah.
Then the panic will occur.
John, Hockey Canada, new executive. What if you're doing the hiring, what kind of person are you looking for to head up Hockey Canada?
I am looking for the best corporate executive in the country.
Right.
I'm not looking for a hockey person.
Right.
I'm looking for someone who can manage a business.
Yep.
And then, and because what's happened now, and the Justice report came out, Justice Como report came out today.
Yep.
They need to create a governance that fits with everything, and that means it has to be the same governance that Scotiabank is, a public company, or a Royal Bank. And so you need to go and find the best corporate executive, period, male or female, doesn't matter, who's qualified to build a new business that just happens to be a nonprofit. So that's what I would be doing. I'd be looking outside of the hockey world. This is not a hockey world job. This is a job this is a $60 million business, guys. $60 million.
Yep.
And the tentacles that it has throughout the country and how to manage people is so important that they now need to go outside of our game, outside the game of hockey, and find someone who can manage a business properly in accordance with what should happen in 2022.
Finally, John, you're a TV guy, both in front
Allegedly.
of the camera and behind the scenes. I have to ask you this. We ran the shot of, much to the chagrin of the youngster Ryan Henderson over there, Barry Wilkins' first Canuck goal back on October 9th, 1970. And there was this habit that directors had back in the day of cutting to a different camera. I think you know what I'm talking about. I tell by your action. Cutting to a different camera mid-shot where you kind of missed out what was going on. What was the thinking there?
It was a time, and if you go through anything prior to, like throughout the 50s and 60s, that was the style. Yeah. I have to give credit to my old boss, Ralph Mellenby. When Ralph Mellenby came in and took a lot more influence and power within the game, he was the one who said, that is such a jarring shot.
Yes.
Why would we do this anymore? And he was the one who changed it. But it was the silliest thing in the history of mankind. I will tell you that for many years past that, and well after Hockey Night changed, there were still teams in Boston and in New York, broadcast teams in those cities that were still doing it. Mm-hmm. And it just made absolutely no sense. And, hard to believe that it was Barry Wilkins that scored that goal, because I remember where I sat when I watched it, even though Ryan wasn't even born. So.
Yeah. Same with Rick. Yeah. Were you around then in 1970?
2 years old.
Okay. I remember it well. The late Barry Wilkins, by the way.
Yes,
God rest his soul. Thanks so much, John. Appreciate it.
Hey, have a great weekend, boys.
You bet.